This is a free sample of the book.
Your Parents Were Wrong, Debunking and Replacing Outdated Advice
By Cairo Copeland. Available on Amazon, Audible, and reinventideal.com.
Chapter 4. Good grades don't matter. Parents say, get good grades because they determine your future. Reality says, no one cares. In the theater of academia, the myth of good grades reigns supreme, an omnipresent specter, haunting the halls of schools and universities alike, from the moment we set foot in the classroom to the day we toss our caps in the air. We are led to believe that success is synonymous with high marks, and that the key to unlocking the doors of opportunity lies in the elusive pursuit of academic excellence. But peel back the layers of this fallacious narrative, and what do we find? A tangled web of half-truths and misconceptions, perpetuated by a system designed not for enlightenment and empowerment, but for the continual conformity to outdated beliefs. Let us begin with a simple truth. Good grades do not equal success. No one in the real world is ever going to ask to see your transcript, nor will they care what grades you received in high school or college. Most employers aren't even allowed to ask about your grades, let alone base their hiring decisions on them. Remember President Obama? Remember how people really wanted to find his academic records and see what kind of grades he got? But remember how nobody could get those academic records? Nobody could find them. Nobody could get them released because they were sealed. And that did not stop him from becoming the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world. And yet, despite this glaring deficiency, we are led to believe that the pursuit of good grades is the be-all and end-all of our educational journey. But why, you may ask? Are we so fixated on grades? What purpose do they serve, if not to gauge our academic prowess and potential for success? The answer lies in the insidious machinations of the education industrial complex. Grades serve not as a measure of intelligence or aptitude, but as a means of control, a tool used to keep students focused on something, anything, other than the glaring inadequacies of the system itself. Consider, if you will, the vast expanse of knowledge and information that awaits us in the world beyond the classroom. And yet, despite this wealth of intellectual riches, we are subjected to a curriculum filled with trivial minutiae and rote memorization, the vast majority of which we will never use in our daily lives. And while it's true that some subjects may be more relevant than others, the sad reality is that much of what we are taught serves no practical purpose other than to burn time so the idiots that we call teachers can be employed and the fools that we call parents can work. But good grades must count for something, right? What about the so-called prestigious colleges and universities that demand good grades as a prerequisite for admission? Sure, they demand them, but not for the purpose of intellectual achievement. No. It is all to perpetuate this myth of academic excellence and create the supposed prestige about their university. Indeed, the prestige is illusory to feign superiority, and thereby justifying their exorbitant tuition fees and bloated endowments. Further, in the upper echelons of education, a sly and deceitful subculture exists. In this subculture, they are decadent with privilege, overly saturated with unearned money from their thievery, and drunk with power. We call them the deans of education. Rich as they are, they no longer find pleasure from money like we do, as they are far too overstimulated by the large excesses of ill-gotten wealth they have amassed. Instead, they find a far greater pleasure in telling others what they must do to live an optimal life. no matter how foolish and outlandish their decrees may sound. They experience pornographic levels of pleasure watching young students and wannabe enrollees follow their demands of what they must do. In their ivory towers, they masturbate to the sight of youngsters sacrificing their social lives and limited youth to attain good grades. You heard that correctly. The pursuit of higher marks in education, particularly in extremely trivial and pointless subjects, is encouraged entirely to entertain overly spoiled elite assholes who jerk off to your suffering for vice. But let us not delude ourselves into thinking that the pursuit of good grades is the sole purview of academia. No, it extends far beyond the hallowed halls of ivy-covered buildings into the corridors of corporate America, where the myth of good grades is perpetuated with even greater fervor. We are led to believe that graduating from a prestigious college is the key to unlocking the doors of opportunity, that a diploma from Harvard or Yale is a golden ticket to success. But the truth is far more sinister. In reality, no one cares what college you go to, nor do they care what grades you received while you were there. The notion of prestige is just a mirage, a smokescreen designed to obscure the harsh realities of a system that rewards conformity over creativity and obedience over critical thinking. And yet, despite this glaring incongruity, we continue to perpetuate this myth of good grades like lambs to the slaughter, oblivious to the true motives of those who seek to control us. Let not your heart be troubled, for there is a way out of this draconian nightmare. It begins with a simple realization. The purpose of school is not to make you smart. The purpose of it is to make you conform to the current role of cogs in the machine, like the Pink Floyd song, "They only want another brick in the wall." Further, success in school is far from a precursor to accurately predict success in life. Many of the richest people alive today, and many of the wealthiest from the days of our past, all dropped out of either high school or college or never even attended. Thomas Edison was once asked by his teacher if he was retarded. The only reason to take K through 12 schooling seriously is to get out of it as soon as possible so you can find an enlightening and empowering education elsewhere. And elsewhere being a place like YouTube, Khan University, or even ChatGPT. Still, for some, that real education will be pursued at institutions of higher learning, which has its own dedicated chapter debunking the parental wisdom around it next.
Thank you for listening to this free sample of the book
Your Parents Were Wrong, Debunking and Replacing Outdated Advice
by Cairo Copeland. Available on Amazon, Audible, and reinventideal.com.